Good morning and welcome to Buddy Brew Coffee, a weekly chat that we have here about everything related to the tech ecosystem and related to economic development and how the economics of tech are working here or hopefully working better here in the Tampa Bay region. I have a number of folks here. I'm Ken Evans. Commissioner Sharp could not make it this week, so I'm filling in. We have some of the usual suspects and some new faces today. And we'll be talking about a number of different things relative to economic development and how it is reaching across the table and working a little bit better with the tech community and some of the initiatives that were presented at this week's Board of County Commissioners meeting on Wednesday. And we'll have some folks talking about that as well. But one thing I want to point out is right down there, if the camera can pan down to below the Buddy Brew Coffee, is we have a new hashtag we'll be using on a weekly basis. Right now, I'd ask you to use it for reposting the video and making comments about the Buddy Brew chat. In the future, we'll actually be monitoring the hashtag during the event so we can take live questions and make this a little bit more interactive so that you folks that are out there watching this, streaming or otherwise, can participate in the conversation. But having said that, I want to make sure that everyone knows this is an open event for anyone to come down and participate, view, and ask questions both before and after the taping. And if you're interested in economic development and the impact on the tech ecosystem, come on down here and participate in the conversation. So today we'll be talking about the Economic Development Innovation Initiative, or EDI2. We'll be talking a little bit about Sprout Camp, a new accelerator that is kicking off in the Tampa Bay area. We'll be talking about the Hack-a-thon, which the county is putting on in mid-April, and we have some new information about that. And we'll be talking about other events in the Bay Area as well, including Ignite, which is a great event that'll be at the Tampa Theater on April 25th. But right now I'd like to start off by talking about the Economic Development Innovation Initiative, EDI2, which was introduced by Commissioner Sharp at Wednesday's Board of County Commissioner meeting. And we have Lindsay Kimball, the Managing Director of Hillsborough County Economic Development, to talk a little bit about what she crafted for that discussion and kind of the road ahead, what the timeline is for getting that implemented and how it's actually going to impact economic development from a cultural perspective as well as from an engagement perspective in the tech community.
Great. Well, thank you, Ken. I appreciate the introduction. We are also very excited about the Economic Development Innovation Initiative. What was passed by the Board of County Commissioners was the direction to go forward and develop a program that's going to help support the innovation and technology ecosystem in our community. We're also looking to support the avenues where folks engage, where talent engages each other, where smart people come together and come up with the next big innovation idea. So it's not about, number one, it's not about government dictating anything. It's not about us picking winners or losers. It's not about direct funding of any kind to a company or to an idea. It's about providing for facilitation of connections of these folks so that they can get together, so that our community can be viewed as an innovative and forward-thinking community. I mean, this is a big shift for us. It's generally been about bricks and mortar and cubes and tourism development and things like that. So we're moving now. We're following the trend of economic development. We're moving away from smokestack chasing, and we're trying to grow our own here in this community. I mean, there's talk throughout the state about economic gardening and more emphasis on the small businesses, and we know that statistics are bearing out that the companies of the future and where wealth generation will occur in your community will be with startups and will be with smaller companies. So from our perspective, that's the point of the Economic Development Initiative, is number one, to put our stake in the ground and say that we're a community that's welcoming and accepting, and we want to be innovative and forward-thinking. And number two, that we are going to provide support, as I said, to the infrastructure that allows folks. So across the board, we want to help raise the level of our innovative and technology-driven economy.
Well said, and thank you for putting that forward. A number of us in the tech community were at the Board of County Commissioners meeting on Wednesday, and really appreciate not just the proposal that you put forward, but the discussion that happened from the commissioners and the very positive acceptance that we saw. And I want to highlight two things that you, or at least one of which you said is, this is not about putting the county at the forefront of tech discussions or leading the tech ecosystem. This is about putting the county in a role that they're very comfortable in, which is infrastructure. Understanding what we need to have to be a startup-friendly community.
Right.
Looking at the best practices from around the country and saying, what has helped other communities either grow into better tech hubs or at least sustain their tech ecosystem in the good times and the bad. And looking at those things, it really will be a partnership with the existing tech community, helping us out with the infrastructure, making sure that more things start and grow here as opposed to focusing later downstream, like you said, in economic development normally tries to pick winners of more mature companies. The other thing that I want to say before we move on this is not a fund. In a couple of the local papers have listed it as a fund for startups. It is not. This is about infrastructure and making sure that the programs that we really need to have to get innovators and get inventors, and it's not just tech, it's not just software, it's scientists, it's anyone that has an idea in their garage or that they're working on the weekend, to get them involved with others in the community so they can vet those ideas and bring them forward, find co-founders, find good places to work, find ways to turn their idea into a product, not fund a company or fund a product, but make that product more viable in the eyes of the rest of the community so that it has a fighting chance. So does anyone else have any questions for Lindsay about EDI2 or how it's going to work?
No, I mean, I think it's a great program as so Tony DeSisto, I have a startup, Citizen Investor. We do crowdfunding for local government projects. And I think, like Ken said, it's not a fund. It's not a place to go get seed funding, but it is something that's going to help the ecosystem and the existing resources and tools that exist in our community and make them stronger, which I think is really important for startups like mine and others to be able to have places where we can, if we need to find a co-founder or where when you're at a later stage, a little bit later stage like me, we need to find developers, or we want to go to a place where there's other startups and interact with them and get new ideas. And I think it's really going to be good for the community, for Tampa, for Hillsborough, and sort of establishing us and building on the tech ecosystem we already have here. So I think it'll be a great program, and I'm excited from a startup founder's perspective about what it's going to do.
Well, the three C's that I talk about with the tech community are our community. It is a community. It's the sum of all the people that participate in it. Confidence, so people have the confidence that they can build products and build companies here, and credibility. And that's something that we've kind of been lacking in the Tampa or the overall Florida ecosystem, but people don't think we're a credible tech ecosystem, although we have great talent. We have a great number of people here. And so I want to talk about one of those events that helps. Actually, I'm going to let Giovanna talk about one of those events that helps. It's a very upstream event. It's not about any one company. It's not about products. It's about the people that are here and what they're capable of doing. The county has stepped up and said that they want to sponsor a hackathon. And I'll let Giovanna explain exactly what that is. But this is a great step forward for the county in participating in an event like this, because it really does engage individuals, not companies, but individuals, students, all the way up through very seasoned entrepreneurs and technical people that can participate in something like that. So Giovanna, could you tell us a little bit about the hackathon that's coming up?
Absolutely. I'm also excited about EDI2, and I think we can all agree that for this issue, government can only go so far in helping build the community. So I think the hackathon is a good start. It's going to bring students along with people that are already working in the field together. Usually resources from students are coming from the school directly, and so getting these people to mingle with each other outside of startup I think it's going to be a really good thing. The mission for this hackathon is just going to be to produce something that helps internal county employees or the citizens at large. And that's going to be the challenge for this hackathon, and we're expecting some cool things to come out of that, and hopefully the things that do come out of that will, impress the people in county and say, oh, we want these apps, we want these websites, and we're going to do what's necessary to build that community.
And if I could also add on to your thought there, another thing that I think is important is that with this initiative, we are lending visibility to this community, this segment of our industry, right? And I think that another benefit of that is that the larger established companies that are here, maybe more traditional companies, are going to see that there's local talent that can help them. There are folks here who are creative, who are innovative, who are a benefit to having a more traditional staid company. It also shines a light on that, so that maybe they don't reach out to other states or other countries for technology and innovation. I think that it's going to help our local industry here be more vibrant.
I can't wait to get to the discussion of open data whenever that's going to happen. But the really groundbreaking thing about this hackathon is it is a government initiative, and they're going to give us live data to work with at the hackathon, which doesn't happen for most hackathons. So I'm pretty excited about that too. Typically, a government could call itself transparent if they put some info on a long PDF file and stick it in an obscure place on their website, and there you go. The public has it. It's accessible. That's not the sentiment. That's years behind what we're trying to do. So I hope this inspires government to be more transparent with their data.
And we've seen this in other regions. There are good examples out there, like what they've done in Manhattan,
Right.
What they've done in other cities and counties and regions around, where they've opened up the data. And this is not personal information about residents or anything of that nature. It's transactional data about the day-to-day workings inside the county. And in that data, there can be some real hidden gems. You can build some great applications that are very, very helpful to the citizens, to the county workers, to the state, and to the region overall. But you don't know until you try.
No.
And so it's a great example of, let's see what's in the data that we can use as infographics, as data reports or applications, but let's also see what our local tech community is capable of. So back to that issue of confidence. If we can build confidence in the people that are here, that they can build great applications in a weekend, because that's what a hackathon is.
Yep.
We start on Friday night, we finish on Sunday afternoon. That's it. Everyone goes away, but you have something to show from that. And it's the same with some of the other weekend events, like Startup Weekend, where you get together. It's not about necessarily creating a company in a weekend, but it's about throwing people together around an idea and seeing what's possible. And I mentioned this last week in the Buddy Brew Coffee. It's about our fitness as a tech community. If we do these things, we build confidence that we can build products, that we can innovate, and that we do have the talent here to actually come up with something at a moment's notice. And so give us those challenges, give us those opportunities to prove that we have great tech talent and great tech ideas in and around the community, and then greater things will come from that. And as we move downstream from people meeting each other, and again, it's not about networking, it's about them actually working together, people come together, they meet co-founders, they come up with ideas, they start to build an idea about a product, and then downstream from those weekend type events, we have more formal events, things like accelerators and incubators and stuff like that. And we have Joel Serino, who is the founding member or managing member of Sprout Camp, an accelerator that is starting here in the Tampa Bay area. And I'm going to let Joel talk a little bit about his program, the type of entrepreneurs that he sees coming into the program or that he needs into the program, and exactly what that's going to do for them when they are in the program and participating in accelerators.
Thank you very much, Ken. Thank you, Lindsay. Very excited about EDI and what's happening right now in Hillsborough County and the support that we're seeing. And as Tony mentioned, it is an unbelievable cheerleader to have in the corner of startups, especially when you see people start banding together. And one of the fundamental principles of running an accelerator is for that exact reason, is to bring startups, to bring entrepreneurs, to bring the government, to bring companies, corporations, to bring students all to the table, and investors, of course, and bring a national kind of view on how things are happening at a very local perspective. And so one of the fundamentals behind running Sprout Camp in Tampa Bay is to help that whole innovation bring a light on the talent that we had, like Ken said. We have an unbelievable talent. I've spent probably 4 or 5 years in this community hiring developers, designers, and experts from outside of this area. It's very difficult to get people to come out of their comfort zones in this area, and I think, as Ken mentioned, I think creating a fitness center where, and I believe this is part of your program, is to help support a fitness center to where entrepreneurs and creatives and technologists can all come together and feel like they can find a co-founder, they can vet an idea out, they can find support for the ideas that they want to move into a business or a product. What Sprout Camp is positioned to do is actually help them build that product through that life cycle. One of the things that we definitely believe at Sprout Camp is that an individual can certainly change the world. And what that means is looking at bigger companies and looking at the way traditional startups have grown in an incubation process is they have lots and lots of time to do it. They can kind of find their way, they can make mistakes kind of on their own time. And Accelerator is meant to speed things up and to move it along very quickly. And that's what Sprout Camp is here to do, really, is to pull entrepreneurs out of the woodworks, put them together in teams, and work on real-world products that are actually going to grow into viable companies, and we want them to stay right here in Tampa Bay. Part of that is also bringing in companies and entrepreneurs from outside of this area to live in this beautiful place that we all kind of have a chance to live in every day. So those are some of the things behind Sprout Camp. We're very involved in trying to help both the EDI program that's happening here in Hillsborough County, and like we said, the overall ecosystem. Sprout Camp wants to help support that as much as possible by running as many events and, of course, an accelerator twice a year. So if you're an entrepreneur, if you're a startup, and you really need help on your product, Sprout Camp is positioned to help you do that in a very short amount of time. And our whole stake is to really see what Lindsay was talking to where we can draw more attention on Tampa Bay as a viable place to come and build your business. And that's what we really just want to help do. So again, thanks for the introduction, and thank you very much for everything you guys are doing. And thank you for having a startup.
For raising money for the Hack-a-thon.
And thank you for being young and entrepreneurial and bringing people together.
You're welcome.
And really being passionate about what you're doing. So, thank you.
Well, as we're wrapping up here, I just want to, kind of do a little bit of a recap of what we've talked about. We'll talk about the fact that, the EDI initiative is going to be up. What's the date that it'll be in front of the county commission again?
It'll be in front of the commission on March 20th.
March 20th, and so I want everyone to keep, pay attention to that. I think there will probably be a number of people tweeting and blogging about that as it's coming up to talk about that and get the tech community out there in support of that. It's important that we show up at the county commission, email the commissioners, call the commissioners, and express support for this type of initiative. Let them know that the tech community is here, it is vibrant, but it really does need the participation. It needs infrastructure, and more importantly, we need the county to kind of take the bully pulpit of saying we can be a vibrant tech community. We already have very interesting things here. If Joy Randalls was here today, she's one of the regular participants in our Buddy Brew Coffee, she'd be talking about the number of great tech people that get on a plane every day and go to work in another city and come back to Tampa to live on the weekend. We can't afford to have that type of brain drain, even temporary brain drain during the week, when those people could be forming companies or working for companies right here. So we want to, pay attention to the EDI 2 that's coming up and provide some support. And if you look at the LinkedIn group for Next Gen Economic Development, or if you look at some of the various blogs that are around the area, you'll see when this is coming up, and we'll be encouraging your support. Joel, any events around Sprout Camp or any dates around Sprout Camp that you want to highlight?
Sure. We're actually running a pilot program right now in downtown St. Petersburg, which kicks off on March 12th. And then what we're doing right now is working for a permanent location this summer to run a full session. And if this summer is not viable, then we're going to do this fall. But we are committed by doing it by the fall of this year. In addition, obviously, we have Ignite coming up. We're going to do a little talk about Sprout Camp at Ignite.
On April 25th at the Tampa Theater.
At the Tampa Theater. Thank you, Ken. That's all I can think of.
Okay. And Giovanna, the Hack-a-thon is on April 12th at
12th to the
HCC
14th.
Brandon campus.
Yes.
And Tony, do you want to say anything about the fundraising efforts for Hack-a-thon?
Sure, yeah, I'll get a pitch in for the company.
30 seconds.
So if you go to citizenvestor.com, you can, right now we are raising money for the prize pool at the Hack-a-thon. We're crowdfunding it, a new innovative way to sort of raise funding for what's going to be a great event at the Hack-a-thon. So if you go to citizenvestor.com, you can help contribute to that, to the prize pool, and it's going to be
What is the goal? $2,500?
Yeah, $2,700, and
Okay.
All right, thank you very much. And again, there are a lot of interesting things happening here. We're here every Friday, so please come join us, watch us online, retweet, repost the video. I think there are a lot of people that would be very interested in this discussion, participating both, virtually as well as coming on down here. And this is really for the tech community to cross over with economic development, make it more about the economics of tech and less about the development of development,
Right.
which we're very entrenched in paving over things, but this is about building a new economy in the Tampa Bay area and how you can contribute. So thank you for joining us. EDI2, hashtag EDI2. Look for it and hopefully participate next week. Thank you very much.
Thank you.